Bittensor is not only in the cutting edge of AI, but it is also the land of opportunity for everyone around the world. My name is Jeremy, aka School of Crypto, and I'm bringing you another Bittensor video. So there's many thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of developers worldwide that are good enough to work for an Anthropic or an OpenAI or Apple or Microsoft, you name it. And there are some restrictions involved in getting them hired, even remotely. And a lot of these big frontier model companies like Anthropic, like OpenAI, are really catering to the in-office crowd, domestic talent pool, people that can come into the office and have access to their technology right there so they can kind of see what's going on. There are people, let's say in Africa, let's say in Asia, that may not have the infrastructure to really be able to work on these models and have reliable internet access, have the reliable tools to use, computers, bandwidth, you name it. And that's really restricting a lot of people that can really do big things with these types of models and these types of companies. And this is where Bittensor comes into play. This is a land of opportunity. You can have people that, again, are just as good as people coming out of Harvard, just as good as people coming out of Princeton, people that are working at these big frontier labs that have an opportunity to make just as much money and showcase just as many skills by working on some of these subnets. So let's say you were a scientist and you wanted to calculate certain molecules to make a drug discovery type of finding, like on Metanova, but you don't have the credentials to work in the States, you don't have the visa, you may not have the college that they want you to go to, you may not have the connections, but all you need to do is spin up a BTC client and be able to register for a subnet, and then your work speaks for itself and you can earn money for all the hard work that you're doing and the ingenuity that you're showing. And this is where the dark talent globally can really come to the light and be able to ultimately showcase their skills, get compensated for it, and do great work, right? This is what it's all about. It's really about giving very talented people opportunities that they may not have had otherwise. I remember talking to somebody in Iran, actually, and he was saying that he couldn't even get on Upwork to get jobs there, right? There's such limitations with people that, again, have the skill sets, know how to code, are very bright, and they just can't get that particular job that, let's say, people in the States can get, or somebody in Europe, right? So this is ultimately a land of opportunity for anyone that has the skill sets. And honestly, it doesn't matter if you're good, if you're an evil dictator, right? Like, that's the funny thing about Bittensor. They don't care if you're like an adversary of the United States. You can be in North Korea, you can be in Russia, you can be in China, and you can still contribute. It's so merit-based, right? And ultimately, that's not discriminatory, right? It's ultimately about who's the best, and then who's going to help create the best digital commodities for the subnet owners. And that can happen in the States. It can happen in Australia. It can happen in Asia. It can happen in Africa. You name it, right? Any continent around the world, if you have an internet connection, if you have a little bit of TAO to register for a subnet, you can really compete and you can make a huge amount of money. I was looking at some stats, daily stats, weekly stats, monthly stats, and you had some miners that were making $250,000 in a month, $280,000 a month, $150,000 a month, right? Just because they either provided some compute or they were able to create an agent, or they were able to contribute to a model in Affine, right? They were able to do these things because of the skills they have, not based on the connections they had, not based on the college they went to, not based on where they're from, right? It was all about the skills. And that's what makes Bittensor a very special place. The permissionless nature of it, the openness of it, and really open to anybody in the world, right? It's not discriminating against anybody. And that's what creates these really amazing innovations that can ultimately compete with the open AIs, potentially the Anthropics, right? That's what this is all about. So for me, it's such an exciting project to cover, because you have people all around the world that probably don't even know about it, but have the skill sets to be able to earn a living, to be able to actually do productive work, to actually contribute to something meaningful, something that can compete with these big technology groups and companies and conglomerates. And it's really like the world against the very few, the open lab, right, which is like Bittensor and all the subnets, versus the closed labs, which are like Anthropic and OpenAI. And that is a fascinating dynamic when you're kind of comparing the two, and what's going to win, right? What's going to create the better product? What's going to create the best digital commodity? Where is it going to come from, right? So honestly, that's one of the most exciting things for me, is that you have a open arena in which anybody can come in and really go to the battlefield, and may the best man win, get the rewards, and then contribute to a potential state-of-the-art technology that can be in the newspapers, that can be in the news, that ultimately may beat a Grok or beat a Claude, right? Like, those are some very distinct possibilities that could happen, because you have people fighting it out for these rewards and ultimately doing their best work because they need to in order to earn, and that gets the best out of everybody, right? Whereas if you're in a cushy job with Anthropic, and it's like you and your department of engineers, and you have a contract and you're making $400,000, $500,000 a year, I would imagine that you don't have as much sense of urgency, right? You have a little bit more of a comfort level, and you don't have that again, sense of urgency to battle it out and to really like use your ingenuity. There's probably a lot of checks and balances. There's a lot of middle management. There's a lot of little things that may put a damper on what you can do ultimately. So this is like the world against the very few, right? This is the dark talent versus the Ivy League talent. This is the underdog versus the favorite. And how many underdogs is it going to take to overcome the favorite? How many Davids can overtake Goliath? And that's what we're talking about here. And I think that this is going to be a tremendous opportunity for anyone around the world to really put their knowledge to the test, and again, like I said, contribute to something bigger than them, and then also be able to get compensated for it. And then, again, not having that opportunity otherwise, right? There's only a very select few that get to work for a FANG company, that get to work for X, that get to work for any of these frontier models. But there's anyone that can go on a Bittensor subnet and make $250,000 a month, right? Or make $100,000 a month, or even make $50,000, $20,000. That's a lot of money, right? That's only if you're able to use your skills and be able to, again, make this subnet better, right? That's what this is all about. So what do you guys think? Is this a land of opportunity? Is it kind of just a flash in the pan, and it's not gonna, it's not going to be as big of an opportunity for developers around the world. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just let me know down in the comments below. Appreciate your time. Give me a like if you got anything out of this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care.